Well, howdy there, folks. How are we doing today? Hopefully, you're all doing wonderful and just peachy keen and all that. Thank you. And today we're going to have a little cat sermon. And we're here at the Third Church America again. It's just been kind of becoming like one of my favorite places to do this for some reason. I don't know. I just really like it. I really like the kind of the ruins and like the way the nature overtakes things. It's just real nice. I also like this bowl. It's a nice bowl. Um, so today we're going to do a little cat sermon. Uh, and yeah, hopefully you enjoy. All right, I'm going to start with a prayer. Oh, sweet Divine Mother, please guide us. Guide us so that we may always remember you, thank you, and perfect our worship of you. Guide us so that we may always come back to you. Guide us so that in every step we will follow your will. Guide us so that we may be happy. Guide us so that we may be healthy. Guide us so that we may be free of our hardships, no matter how difficult they seem to us at the time. Remind us that we may always come back to you and put our hardships at your feet. Remind us that there is always a place for us to rest our heads in your lap and cry if we need to. Remind us that there is always a place for us to come back and feel your warm embrace. Thank you, Divine Mother, for everything you have given us. Let us see the face of Christ in all people. Let us see the face of Krishna in all people. Let our hearts bloom with love. Thank you, Ma, for everything you've given us. Om Kri Ma Kali Kali Namaha. Very good. You know, we find that there is a lot of hatred out there in the world. There's a lot of folks out there who are doing stuff that they probably shouldn't be doing. There's a lot of people out there that maybe do little things that annoy us and things like that. And we often find that there is a certain amount of like sweetness almost to feeling a little angry. It can feel kind of nice in the moment, to get angry. It can feel justified. But, there is an ancient rule, and I've noticed this rule across various different religions. And, it was first brought to my attention, specifically, the language I was going to use was from the Dhammapada. But the more I've read, the more I've seen that this is kind of across all these different religions. Like we might say turn the other cheek. But I think a good way to illustrate it is more along the lines of hatred never ceases by hatred. Hatred ceases by love. There's a lot of difficulty in the world, and there's a lot of people who have, real hard time, and some people, seem like they really want to make time more difficult for other people. But we have to remember that in our heart of hearts, we already know that hatred does not do us any good. We don't have time for hatred, simply put. We're actually here for a fairly short span, even though we don't realize it, at least in this current life. And hatred, we already know it takes up too much time. Being angry takes up too much time. And it is much better for us to give up that hatred, to give it up as much as we possibly can, and embrace love, and embrace doing the right thing, and helping people, and trying to be part of the goodness in the world rather than the bad things in the world. We should always be striving for more love in our lives and to be better at giving love to the people around us. And we don't always appreciate the people around us and the things around us, and we often have so many different things that work in our favor and give us goodness and happiness in our lives, but we often forget about them. Sorry, I keep accidentally tilting that. But we often forget about them, and you want to take time to appreciate them and love them, but also take time to remember that, hey, if you feel yourself giving in to anger or hatred, remember, hey, you don't have time for that. You're too busy trying to embrace the love of God and trying to feel the love of God in all things. You don't have time to sit there and dwell on how much someone has wronged you. You know, focusing on things like how someone hurt you or how someone is hurting someone else. Like, there's reasons to do that, to understand that, we need to fix that problem and we need to overcome it. And, sometimes there's bad things in the world and there's reasons to think about that. But at the same time, hatred is simply just not the right solution. Anger is not the right solution. Embracing love and embracing as much forgiveness as we possibly can is ultimately the better path for ourselves as well as the world. If you dwell on hatred, it can boil you up and it can hurt you and it will just cling on to you and weigh you down. But the best thing to do is to embrace love in all things and to embrace as much forgiveness as you can, to let go. And people always say, I can't let go. It's like, well, you can. It's just sometimes it's a little bit harder. And sometimes it's about how sometimes we don't really want to let go. And we say, I want to let go, but then, you look at it, it's like, do you really? You should also always be willing to hand over any pain and suffering, any negative emotions you have, and offer them up to God and say, these, I don't want these, take them from me. I don't want hatred, I don't want greed, take them from me. And sometimes it happens immediately where you'll just feel amazingly better, and other times it'll happen slowly over time and you'll start to notice little changes in yourself. If you're really willing to abandon hatred and if you're really willing to abandon anger, it's always good to remember that you can come home to God. And even, and no matter what's bothering you, God knows and God will listen if you offer sincere prayer and ask for help and forgiveness and understanding and try to figure out why does something bother you, or why is XYZ thing happening. And maybe you won't get the answer you were expecting. But if you keep your ears open and are willing to listen, you'll often find that there's a good answer there. And even if it's not an answer that will satisfy you forever, sometimes even satisfaction for just a little bit in the answer and then the love of God is better than letting hatred eat you up forever. Not a meme, Jimmy Dean. And sometimes it's important to remember that all of these feelings of hatred, or all, and the good feelings too to a certain extent, they will all pass. And that none of this lasts forever. And that it's important to not waste your time dwelling in anger. And it's important to not waste your time dwelling in hatred. And it's much better to dwell within the good of mankind and the good of nature and then the good of the universe and then the good of God, and to dwell there and to feel the beauty and the relief that comes from that. Like, we have this burning, itching wound that we always want to pick at it. We always want to pick at the things that make us angry and or give us a little bit of hate. But it's much better if you take your time, relax, and try to dwell within the present moment and dwell specifically in the moment with God and dwell within the moment within the universe and see the good there and to offer up your negativity and toss it aside and to embrace positivity. I'm not saying like toxic positivity, the whole idea like be positive no matter what, but dwelling in hatred is not good. And there are times when, anger is an appropriate emotion, but don't let it control you. Not a mean Jimmy Dean. Remember to embrace God's love. That's all I really wanted to say today. So we'll end with a short little prayer. Thank you, God, for everything you have given us. Let us embrace love every day. Let us step closer to you every day. Let the love that you have planted within our hearts bloom into beautiful blossoms. Let us always come back to you. Let us always remember you. Let us always turn the other cheek. And let us always abandon our greed, hatred, and delusion. And let us always come towards you with full smiles. You are always there for us, Mother, and let us always remember it. You're always there for us, Christ, and let us always remember it. You're always there for us, Krishna. Let us always remember it. God in all manifold forms, let us always remember that you are always there for us. Thank you, God, for everything. Let us accept whatever answers we are given, and let us find peace, and let us find joy, and let us sing the desires of our hearts up to you, and let us sing our love up to you. Thank you. Om. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Very good. So, I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day, and I hope that you can keep in mind the things I said. And yeah, love you. Bye. Have a great day.